Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more ladder matches from the very best pro gamers in the world. This one is going to be featuring none other than Bisu, but honestly, the name that he's up against, almost as famous at this point. In the top left, it's going to be Rush. Now, of course, Bisu, the revolutionist Protoss, this is the guy that kind of changed the whole StarCraft world on its head. Maybe the most important single player after Slayer's Boxer in the history of the game, and I don't say that lightly. But Bisu took a matchup, Protoss versus Zerg, which was always considered extremely Zerg favored, and showed that, you know what, Protoss absolutely can win this matchup. It was in a very important time, a very exciting time, and to this day, he is a top 3 Protoss in the entire world. Like, he is extremely strong right now. I actually put him around 3rd rank as far as Protoss goes, maybe 4th if you want to argue a little bit about the various matchups, but certainly one of the very strongest out there. But his opponent here on the map, Invader, is going to be Rush. And with Flash not currently returned to pro gamer status, Rush is the most consistent Terran in the world, more so than Light even. Light might have a slightly higher win rate in sponsored matches in pro leagues, but Rush is like always going to the top of ASL. He's had multiple finals, multiple top 4s. And is in unbelievable shape right now. I think he's someone that's absolutely going to be a champion. You're not going to be able to stop this guy. But, you know, that means that really Bisu's going to have his work cut out for him. You know, I go into this game saying, you know, we're featuring Bisu. But, like, actually, if he wins, I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. Because Rush is that good. So, anyways, Bisu scouting very quickly here on Invader. And he offensive gases, steals that gas right away. You can see Rush having a little bit of a hard time. Really good micro from Bisu, putting a ton of damage onto these SCVs, taking no hull damage on his probe as of yet. Rush trying real hard to get that damage, though. And you can see just really good micro here from both sides. Definitely Bisu showing he knows how to work a probe. But the Marine is about to pop out, so he's going to have to stop here in a moment. Chasing that SCV quite a bit, but I think it's time to evacuate. He knows that Marine is going to be coming out. In the meantime, Bisu back at home does have a forward gateway going with the Zealot forward. Ooh, gets one hit. Gonna turn around, though. No gas as of yet, so might be going for a quick Nexus. But a lot of times, yeah, I was just going to say, a lot of times with this SCV, you're going to go ahead and make an engineering bay to block that Nexus. So multiple probes are coming down to fight against this, to kill the SCV so there's not too much health here. He might utilize the second Zealot to power this down really quickly so he can actually get his Nexus. Yeah, that's exactly what we'll see. But because he uses the second one, the first one will not be joined for a bit, which is going to give Rush a little bit of wiggle room on this defense. But look at this. He gets the SCV while it's building the bunker. So Rush absolutely not making that fast enough. And by the time he gets over here, the second Zealot is on the way. The Nexus has been started, and Rush is working on that gas. But honestly, right this second, it feels like Bisu does have a bit of an advantage. The bunker does go up with a single Marine in it, but a single Marine doesn't do much in a bunker. And in fact, loses one. This one is one probe hit from death. Oh, he actually kills the probe, which is very, very good because the probe has more range than the Zealot. So you might actually be able to get that kill. But as is, has 3 kills on this Zealot right now. Going to chase that back and be able to kill it off. This one Zealot, well, this is the nice thing about the bunker, right? He can start the command center. And, you know, the Zealot can go over and harass some, but he can maybe micro the SCV, maybe pop it off. And finally gets his own gas off here. So, you know, there's been like a lot of back and forth. And I think Bisu's position is probably just slightly better. But this is not like, oh, the game's over type of situation, right? Like if he lost a bunch of SCVs or something, they're within 2. Command center timing versus Nexus timing, not that far off. So yeah, a little advantage here to Bisu. One thing to mention is that the gas is going to end up being very, very late. So I don't know that Rush will be able to put any pressure on since the first Dragoon is starting as he starts mining gas. You know, that is going to be a tad late in relation to the Dragoon production. So yeah, sometimes when you get offensive gas, if you power it down really quickly, you can get your siege tank out within a good time in relation to the Dragoon and maybe go out on the map and give some pressure. But as is, I think that Rush is going to have to play a little bit defensively here. We see him throwing down his second gas. Of course, his factory is on the way with the second gas coming up. You may be thinking, well, he's certainly going to throw down a second factory, but he'll probably go quick armory as well. I mean, what else will you use all that gas for? I guess a starport would be possible. But yeah, definitely the 2 factory. And there it is, second factory being started. The gas is done. And, you know, he's got a reasonably defensive layout here. Back at Bisu's base, we have that robotics coming up, range coming up as well, blocking this ramp. This is just like in case an SCV wiggles by or... you know, even a vulture at some point. But the Dragoon, you see him kind of like trying to decide where to put the Dragoon. Might be on a little bit of a rally point here. Maybe just trying to get lucky if a vulture tries to run in once again. Another Dragoon going up to watch anything coming out of Rush's base. And not just that, sends a Zealot around this area to make sure there's nothing awaiting his probe. And I think we will be seeing him take this as his third Nexus. Maybe a pylon wall first there. So I want to jump down and check. Okay, so it is going to be Reaver Tech coming out here for Bisu. And, you know, not a big surprise here. Bisu's not a player like super known for Reavers. Not that he's bad at them in any ways, but I think he's more associated with Templar Tech. But yeah, I mean, the Reaver openers nowadays are they're so important. Everyone's gotten very good at them at this point, and you really know that they can slow pushes, they can harass, they can pressure. They're becoming more reasonable in big fights as, you know, we watch these Protoss players get better and better with them. But that's going to be a good way to kind of check in on what's happening across the map. And it's going to keep him safe as well while he takes this pretty darn quick, fast third Nexus at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. And considering how this game started out with a little bit of a Zealot rush plus offensive gas, that is a nice, fast third Nexus from Bisu as well. In fact, just off of that single gateway. So he throws down the observatory, and it looks like the Reavers are going to be popping out on the inside here. This is just a little sim city, so if a vulture drop comes in, he can't run past. Does make it a little bit more annoying to get the Reavers out, but that's all right. 2 Zealots going to join as little damage tankers and damage dealers here for that Reaver as it gets dropped off. And, of course, we can see that shuttle speed is on the way for B. So let's see what he's up against over here. Right now, it's actually Goliath range on the way. 2 Goliaths and a tank, and here he has 1 Goliath. So that's going to be his anti-air. Okay, he's got 2 comsats, so that's pretty solid. He can pick off observers as well. But this is kind of an older style. I don't blame Rush for doing this. I think that this could be a very solid way to open this. But it's probably going to be upgrade Terran with Goliaths. Like, we used to call this, like, the Goliath build, like, a long time ago. And then, like, there was a Goliath build against Zerg, and it became a little bit confusing. But... it is a little bit antiquated. This is like a build that was being used a lot, like maybe in 2018 or so, and is not used as much anymore. Because when you get the early Goliaths, it does cut into your Vulture production and your tank production. So right now, the Reaver drop does come in and flies right over all of the Goliaths. Let's see what he gets done. Pops one of the Goliaths right away. Takes some damage here on the shuttle. He has to be careful about that. Gets a few kills, and he is going to get out of there. So pretty solid as far as that harassment goes. And Rush just going to go ahead and send this back. You know, he lost a little bit of a hull damage there on the shuttle as well as the 2 Zealots. But you know what? Killing a Goliath, killing some SCVs, some lost mining time, I think you're pretty happy with that. Observer sneaking its way in. Bisu does have this third base set up. A nice, healthy 60 probes at the moment. More Reavers coming. Templar Archives +1. He's got the Citadel. Not a lot of gateways yet, right? So 4 gates at the moment, which, you know, based on what he scouted, you know you can't be attacked, right? So I think Bisu's completely happy with where he's at production-wise. When you see the Goliath build, the one main thing is if you just build basically units consistently as Protoss, this build can't attack you. This build is about scaling up, getting that mobile anti-air defense, getting those very fast upgrades. We just saw an ultimate mind game from Rush, though. The Observer came in, right? And then we saw the scan. I wasn't really mentioning it because we talked about that before, that's one of the nice things about the Goliath build is you pick off Observers. He was building a starport. So it looks like upgrade Terran, exactly what I was talking about. Upgrade Terran, right? Where you get the quick starport. You get 2-1 upgrades. You take a 3rd base and a 4th base. He canceled that after killing the Observer and adds 3 factories. So that is a crazy mind game. But Bisu's flying back in. He's going to see that that's canceled. He's going to see all of these additional factories and then also try to get some harassment. Let's see what he gets done. The 2 Reavers going to make their way out. So this was And I actually have chills right now. This was an incredible call from Bisu. So he flew in with the intention of harassing. He sees the overall production and says, you know what? We need these Reavers to hold the push, because this is an all-in basically from Rush, right? Like, he has to do some pretty massive damage with this. It's 6 factories. He's going to start pushing out, and Bisu knows he needs the Reavers. Already paying huge dividends. Takes down a siege tank, takes down 2 Goliaths, dealing some extra damage to these tanks as well. This is what you need with these Reavers to slow these pushes down. He's lost a Reaver, but he's killed multiple tanks, multiple Goliaths, a lot of damage out there as well. So Bisu clearing a lot of these mines. Also, let's take a look at his production. We have a lot of High Templars. Oh man, a ton of gateways here. Zealot legs is on the way, but it is going to take a little bit longer there. So not ready for the very beginning of this push, but might be ready by the time it gets anywhere if he slows it down with the Reaver anymore. Nice. Another good Reaver shot there. Wants to keep that alive again as long as possible. Vultures hate running into Reaver Scarabs. Bisu backing up. Let's zoom out a little bit. Rush pushing this super fast, but look at that supply differential. A 13 probe advantage, but on top of that, over 30 army supply. So Rush, is he overextending a little bit? It feels like he really knows that he needs to kill Bisu quickly since Bisu figured out his trick. But here we go. Psy Storm's going down onto those siege tanks. Oh man, just absolutely slaughtering this army right now. Rush doesn't have a whole lot left, but he does have mostly siege tanks. He's killed a lot of the Dragoons. With only 3 Dragoons remaining, sometimes you can pull a game like this. That can happen where Protoss kind of screws up and they have... Well, look, he's making 10 Dragoons. That shows you. If you make nothing but Zealots, that's easy to micro against. You can kind of unsiege, kite back, you know, use your Vultures, use your mines. Here he is running up with these Zealots and, in fact, has that one Reaver still left over. The Reaver doing massive damage right now, helping to take out those 2 siege tanks. And I think he's basically broken him. I don't know that Rush can go back and re-macro up his army against 4-base Bisu with how many gates? 10 gates or so. GG is called, and Bisu takes down one of the best Terrans in the world in Rush.